and welcome. Now, newly elected member of the Rajya Sabha, Alphonse Kannanthanam, is being subscribed oath or affirmation. Let's cut across live.
Sri Alphonse Kannanthanam.
I, Alphonse Rajnath, having been elected as member of the Council of State, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, and that I will faithfully discharge the duty upon which I am about to enter.
Okay, all the best. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
And good addition to our family.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Parliamentary election.
Many let's leave it.
Yeah,
You decide.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, please come. Please come. Can I have a photo?
So that's my wife.
Yeah, I know. Both of you can have a photo.
So,
Family members can have a photo.
yeah, we can have photos.
Yes, sir.
No problem. Yeah.
Don't follow it. मैं जब भी आई वहाँ से इतना दूर आया आप लोग
CM also was here, sir. She did take it for morning, sir.
अरे नहीं सर प्लीज आप बैठो
तो ये भी आपका पहले एमपी था ना
हाँ अभी भी है सर हमारा अध्यक्ष है
Okay, all the best to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Right, Arunji is in Gujarat.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
It is because of the election, otherwise you would have got a good number.
Other people also.
All are really
Everybody is busy.
Well, sir, thank you for coming, sir.
No
Chandra, sir, my classmate.
आने वाले क्या
Law, lawyer.
All right, so these were the live visuals that we were getting you from the national capital, where newly elected member of the Rajya Sabha, Alphonse Kannanthanam, was being subscribed oath or affirmation in the chamber of Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu. BJP's Kannanthanam was elected member of the upper house in a by-election to the Rajya Sabha from Rajasthan. Let's now take a look at the other top stories in the headlines. Challenge before higher judiciary to mentor and encourage lower judiciary, says President. Prime Minister calls for three arms of state to work together to give direction to New India. Last day of nomination for second phase of Gujarat elections, BJP releases sixth list of 34 candidates. Congress releases third list of 76 candidates. Prime Minister to address 4 rallies in the state today. Death sentence for those guilty of raping girls below 12. Madhya Pradesh Cabinet clears proposal. Bill to be brought in the State Assembly's winter session beginning today. %65% voting in the first phase of historic round of elections in Nepal. First elections for parliament and provincial assemblies being held under new constitution. And Gopi Thunakal becomes the first Indian male runner to win gold at Asian Marathon Championships. 5 gold for India at Women's Youth Boxing Championships. Pankaj Advani enters finals of World Snooker Championships. President Rajnath Kovind has said that the three organs of the state, the judiciary, the legislature and the executive are equal, and it is critical not to disturb their separation of powers. Now, speaking at a function organized by the Supreme Court to mark the Constitution Day on Sunday, the President said that there is a need to maintain a delicate balance while exploring the relationship between the three branches. The President also said that the Constitution of India is not a static but a living document, and all the three branches of the state have a certain responsibility to it. He also said that the Constitution is not an abstract idea, but it has to be made meaningful to the ordinary people of every village and mohalla of the nation.
There should no doubt be emphasis on ministries and departments of the union government, but also on how our constitutional project is being taken forward by village and block level institutions. The legislative sanctity of parliament is important, but so is that of every Gram Panchayat, and this must demand attention from each one of us.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also said that a balance between judiciary, legislature and executive has been the backbone of the Constitution. Addressing the valedictory session of a two-day conference on National Law Day in New Delhi on Sunday, the Prime Minister stressed on the need for these three pillars of the Indian democracy to strengthen each other and work together. The Prime Minister also said that India is a young country and all its institutions should work together to give direction to the new India, as their every decision impacts the lives of common people. The Prime Minister stated that a separation of powers is a fundamental concept of the Constitution which could not be violated. On pendency of a large number of cases in courts, the Prime Minister suggested that evening courts can be started to tackle this issue, as is already being done in some states of the country. The Prime Minister also pitched for simultaneous Lok Sabha and state elections on the occasion.
आज समय की मांग है कि हम एक दूसरे को सशक्त करें, एक संस्था दूसरे की आवश्यकताओं को समझे। वो संस्था जिन चुनौतियों का सामना कर रही हैं, उन्हें समझे। जब ये तीनों संस्थाएं संविधान में लिखित अपने कर्तव्यों पर ध्यान देगी, तभी देश के नागरिकों को भी अधिकार से कह पाएंगे कि आप भी अपने कर्तव्यों का पालन करिए। हम भले रहें या न रहें, लेकिन ये देश रहने वाला है। हम रहें या न रहें, लेकिन जो व्यवस्था हम देश को देकर जाएं, वो सुरक्षित, स्वाभिमानी और स्वावलंबी भारत की व्यवस्था होनी चाहिए।
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also called for a united fight to defeat terrorism. Addressing the nation through his monthly radio program, Mann Ki Baat, the Prime Minister said that terrorism has become a constant global threat. He said it is trying to weaken and destroy the social fabric. The Prime Minister remembered the victims of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks and said that the country won't forget their sacrifice.
आतंकवाद ने विश्व की मानवता को ललकारा है। आतंकवाद ने मानवतावाद को चुनौती दी है। वो मानवीय शक्तियों को नष्ट करने पर तुला हुआ है, और इसलिए अब सिर्फ भारत ही नहीं, विश्व की सभी मानवतावादी शक्तियों को एकजुट होकर आतंकवाद को पराजित करके ही रहना होगा।
The Prime Minister also congratulated the Navy personnel on Navy Day that will be observed on 4th of the next month. He said that India has an unbreakable bond with the oceans. The Prime Minister also stressed that the farming community, he called them to make a resolve that by the year 2022, they will cut down urea usage by half.
हर प्रकार के वैज्ञानिक तरीके से ये सिद्ध हो चुका है कि धरती माँ को आवश्यकता से अधिक यूरिया के उपयोग से गंभीर नुकसान होता है। किसान तो धरती का पुत्र है। किसान धरती माँ को बीमार कैसे देख सकता है? समय की मांग है इस माँ बेटे के संबंधों को फिर से एक बार जागृत करने की।
And now our segment on Gujarat Assembly Elections Verdict 2017. Well, today is the last day for filing of nominations for the second phase of Assembly polls in Gujarat, and a total of 351 nominations have been filed by various candidates for the second phase. A scrutiny of nominations will be held on 28th of November, and the last date for withdrawal is at 30th of November. Polling for the second and the last phase will be held on 14th of December in 93 constituencies. Earlier, 977 candidates were left in the fray for the first phase of assembly polls that will be held on 9th of December. 89 seats of Saurashtra and South Gujarat region are going to polls in the first phase, while the remaining 93 seats in central and northern region would go to polls in the second phase. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is slated to campaign in Gujarat today. Prime Minister Modi will address rallies in Bhuj, Amreli, Vapi and Cambridge. On his arrival in the state today, he visited the Matano Math in Gujarat. On 29th of November, he is also likely to visit Navsari, Bharuch, Junagadh and Bhavnagar. The first phase of polling will take place on 9th of December. And the BJP released its sixth list of candidates for the forthcoming Gujarat elections. The list contains the names of 34 candidates. The BJP had released its fifth list of 13 candidates on Friday. And with the latest sixth list, the BJP has named all its candidates for the 182 seats that will go to polls in the two-phased elections in the state. And earlier, the Congress party on Sunday released its third list of 76 candidates for the second phase of the Gujarat Assembly elections, and the list was released by senior party leader Oscar Fernandez. Earlier on 21st of November, the party released its second list of 13 candidates for the upcoming elections. The party, however, could not finalize the names of its candidates in 20 more seats. The Congress has been out of power in Gujarat for over 2 decades now. The elections in Gujarat will be held in two phases on 9th and 14th of December. Hectic campaigning is on in Gujarat as the date for the first phase of polling approaches. Now, BJP stalwarts are busy addressing rallies in the state. BJP National President Amit Shah attended a program in Daryapur, which is considered a sensitive area. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley also held meetings with the textile traders in Gujarat. He also attended the Man Ki Baat Chai Ke Saath program in Adajan area of Surat West constituency.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए गुजरात एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण प्रांत है। यहाँ पिछले 22 वर्ष से भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार है और स्वाभाविक है कि हम अपनी पूरी ताकत झोंकेंगे और केवल इस चुनाव में जीतना नहीं है, लेकिन एक बड़ी मात्रा से हम लोगों को जीतना है।
And Railways Minister Piyush Goyal was in Porbandar, while Information and Broadcasting Minister Smriti Irani was in Junagadh. Other leaders who also campaigned included Dharmendra Pradhan as well as Chief Minister Vijay Rupani.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने देश को आह्वान किया है। देश उस विषय को ग्रहण करेगा, देश उस विषय को विशेष करके नौजवान हर एक तरीके का उपाय अपनाएंगे और देश में अगर एक पॉजिटिव वाइब, पॉजिटिव वातावरण खड़ा होगा तब जाके देश आगे बढ़ेगी। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आज देश की अंदर एक नया आंदोलन का उन्होंने आज आह्वान किया, पॉजिटिव माइंडसेट, पॉजिटिव इंडिया की उन्होंने आह्वान दिया।
All right, now let's go across to my colleague Panchanan Mishra, who is joining us live from Ahmedabad. A very good morning, Panchanan. Let's speak about the BJP camp first. Now, we are witnessing a high-octane campaign there, including a blitzkrieg by Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself today. He'll be in Bhuj as well as in Saurashtra and finally in Surat. Panchanan, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. All right. You said that the 4 rallies are there by the Prime Minister today, and Prime Minister is has reached Bhuj in the Kutch region. Yeah, Shurya. I was saying that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached Bhuj in the Kutch region. Then after he will go to Rajkot, Amreli, and then after in the South Gujarat, Surat, he will address rallies. So it's a high-octane rallies, the series of rallies by Prime Minister and beginning from today. And the BJP camp is so much excited about the Prime Minister because Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a star campaigner for the BJP. And this election, particularly if we say about this election, the Prime Minister is, as a Chief Minister, Prime Minister is not here, but he is all, he will be present in all the 32 districts of the Gujarat, and he will be doing the rally more than 30 to 35 rallies in Gujarat. So it will be very crucial for the BJP to have Prime Minister as a star campaigner. And on the other side, from Congress, Rahul Gandhi is looking more active now in this, particularly in this 2017 Assembly election. And because the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is versus Rahul Gandhi is looking here, so he is now making allegations in all the field, including the delay in Parliament session, as GST, demonetization, and after all the Rafale deal. So every corner is Congress trying to corner Narendra Modi. So it's a very, very crucial election for both the parties. But BJP is looking very confident to win election, and especially the star campaigner, Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Absolutely, and BJP has set itself a target of 150 plus seats in this election, and they have also named all the candidates for the 182 seats as well. When can you expect the BJP to declare the chief ministerial candidate, Panchanan?
Amit Shah in a rally has already declared that Vijay Rupani may be the face for the Gujarat election. But it will be after the election the strategy BJP is adopting right now in the Gujarat. But the focus is solely on the rallies of Prime Minister the recent time. And Prime Minister is going to address another set of rallies a day after tomorrow, because tomorrow he will be in Hyderabad, and day after tomorrow the 4 rallies are also planned, and Vijay Rupani and Nitin Patel are also sharing the dais with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So it's looking that like that Rupani is gaining all the support from the Prime Minister, and Amit Shah has already made it clear that Rupani will be the face for this Gujarat election as a CM candidate.
All right. Thank you so much, Panchanan, for all those updates from Gujarat. We'll keep coming back to you in the subsequent bulletins there. So, interesting contest ahead for the Gujarat election. Congress looking to improve. On to some other news now. The second phase of local body polls in Uttar Pradesh ended on Sunday with 48.76% of the electorate exercising their franchise. However, reports of malfunctioning of EVMs, names missing from electoral rolls, and bogus voting continued to mar the polling process. Polling took place in 25 districts, including Varanasi, Muzaffarnagar, Ghaziabad, Gautam Budh Nagar, Allahabad, and Lucknow. In the second phase, 6 municipal corporations, 51 municipalities, and 132 municipal councils of 25 districts, including the capital, Lucknow, voted. While the polling for first phase was held on 22 November, the last and the final phase will be held on 29th of November, and the counting of votes will take place on 1st of December. Big story from Madhya Pradesh, where the state cabinet has cleared a proposal to enact a law for awarding death sentence for rape convicts in the cases involving minors of 12 years old and below. The proposal was cleared at a cabinet meet chaired by Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan in Bhopal on Sunday. The Chief Minister said that the cabinet also decided to give a harsher punishment to those guilty of molesting, stalking and harassing women. Now a fine of 1 lakh rupees will also be imposed on such offenders. A bill to this effect will be tabled in the winter session of the State Assembly that begins from today.
12 वर्ष या उससे कम आयु की बालिकाओं के साथ बलात्कार एवं सामूहिक बलात्कार के दोषियों को मृत्यु दंड से दंडित किए जाने का प्रावधान भारतीय दंड संहिता में नई धाराएं 376 ए और 376 ए जोड़कर किया गया है.
And winter session of 2 more assemblies will begin from today. 3-day winter session of the Punjab Assembly will begin. Among the several issues that the opposition is preparing to take up is the issue of farmers. Sugarcane growers of the state have announced to Gherao Assembly on the first day to press the state government to hike the price for the cash crops. Meanwhile, the winter session of the Bihar legislature will also begin today. There will be 5 sittings between today and 1st of December. This will be the second session of the state legislature after the Nitish Kumar-led JDU joined hands with the BJP to form the NDA government in Bihar. News from Jammu and Kashmir centers a special representative Dineshwar Sharma on Sunday visited Pulwama district. Sharma met around 12 delegations, including an all-girls team comprising youth and students from the area. He is also likely to visit Anantnag today to hold similar deliberations. Some of the youth delegations requested him for an early and impartial probe into the arrest of photojournalist Kamran Yusuf by the NIA. The delegation also said that the national media was portraying Kashmir in a bad light and urged him to ensure immediate end to it. Earlier, Sharma visited Kashmiri Pandit camps in Jammu. He visited Jakti area, the largest township of the displaced Kashmiri Pandits, and met people to understand their problems. And Home Minister Rajnath Singh is on a 3-day visit to Russia. He is in Moscow. On arrival, Singh was received by State Secretary and Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs of the Russian Federation at the airport. During the visit, India and Russia will sign 2 key pacts for cooperation in tackling all forms of terrorism and jointly fighting the smuggling of narcotics. Home Minister Rajnath Singh will also hold discussions with Vladimir Koltsev, who is the Minister for Internal Affairs of the Russian Federation. He will also pay a visit to the National Crisis Management Center there. This year, India and Russia are celebrating the 70th anniversary of establishing diplomatic relations with each other. Big story from Nepal, and the country voted in the first round of its historic 2-phase election on Sunday, and the turnout was more than 65%. Polling happened for both national parliament and provincial legislatures across the 7 newly created states. This is the first election after Nepal promulgated a federal democratic republican constitution in September 2015. In the first phase of election on Sunday, polling was held in 32 districts. The Chief Election Commissioner of the country said the polls were held mostly peacefully. There were no reports of any injuries or untoward incidents. The primary battle in the election is between the Nepali Congress, led by Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba, and a new left alliance of the Communist Party of Nepal, led by KP Sharma Oli, and Maoists, led by Pushpa Kamal Dehal Prachand. The Madheshi parties of the Tarai are also fighting the polls, but they are fighting independently in the region of influence. But they are expected to support NC after the polls. The second phase for the remaining 43 districts will be held on 7th of December, and the results are expected a few days after that. Big story coming in from Pakistan, where the country's Law Minister Zahid Hamid has resigned following deadly clashes across the country between police and protesters belonging to the hardline religious groups. The protesters staged a sit-in the capital for about 3 weeks, demanding removal of Hamid for changes in the law. They allege that the changes amount to blasphemy. Hamid presented his resignation to Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi to bring the country out of a state of crisis. The resignation came as part of an agreement reached between the government and the protesters overnight. The deal came after a 2-day face-off in Islamabad and other parts of the country between protesters and security forces that saw at least 6 people killed and hundreds others injured. Let's get you all the sporting action now. And Gopi Thonakal has become the first Indian male runner to win gold in the Asian Marathon Championship. The 29-year-old from Kerala achieved the feat in the 16th edition of the event in China on Sunday. Thonakal became first. He clocked 2 hours, 15 minutes and 48 seconds. Andrei Petrov of Uzbekistan bagged the silver, while Byambalev of Mongolia won the bronze. Overall, Thonakal is the third Indian to have won a gold in the event. News from the world of badminton. PV Sindhu lost to world number 1 Tai Tzu Ying of Chinese Taipei in the women's singles final of the Hong Kong Super Series badminton tournament in Kowloon on Sunday. Sindhu, who has a 3-7 head-to-head record against Tai before the match, fought throughout the match, but she went down 18-21, 18-21 to the defending champion in a match that lasted just 44 minutes. This is Sindhu's second loss in the 4 finals that she has reached this season. And India claimed 5 golds at the AIBA Women's Youth Boxing Championships in Guwahati on Sunday. The country's pugilists grabbed 5 top positions to finish overall champions for the first time. The girls who won the coveted yellow medals are Neetu in the 48 kg category, Jyoti Gulia in 51 kg, Sakshi Chaudhary in 54 kg, Shashi Chopra in 57 kg and Ankushita Boro in 64 kg division. Now adding to the tally were 2 bronze medals secured by Neha Yadav and Anupama, making it India's best ever performance at the marquee age group event. And in more good news for India, Pankaj Advani has stormed into the final of the World Snooker Championships at Doha. Advani defeated Florian Nubel of Austria for a spot in the final. The 17-time world champion has earned a medal in every world championship held in Doha this entire month. After a gold and a bronze in the World Billiards short and long formats respectively, Advani is now the only Indian to secure a medal at the current snooker world event too. And moving on to cricket, India are in a dominant position on day 4 of the second test against Sri Lanka in Nagpur. The visitors are 2 wickets down and Indian bowlers would fancy their chances against them. The host batsman took India to 610 for 6, declared in the first innings, with Virat Kohli scoring his 5th double century. The first test of the 3-match series had ended in a draw. And Australia defeated England by 10 wickets in the first Ashes test at Brisbane to take a 1-0 lead in the 5-match series. Australia chased down the victory target of 170 runs before the lunch on the 5th and the final day, with David Warner remaining unbeaten at 87 and his opening partner Cameron Bancroft at 82 not out. And finally, the 37th India International Trade Fair that kicked off at Pragati Maidan on 14th of November will conclude today. And the 14-day annual event was organized by the India Trade Promotion Organization under the Commerce Ministry. The theme of the fair was Startup India, Stand Up India. The first 4 days of the event were dedicated to business visitors, while the fair was open to public on 19th of November. Earlier on 14th of November, President Rajnath inaugurated the event. This year, the partner country for the fair was Vietnam, while Kyrgyzstan was the focus country. That's it in this edition of News, but news and updates continue on your channel. Thanks for watching.